Hi guys, my name is Peter Horobin. What I'm about to explain to you today is a lot of people have questions or confused about how a saddle should be cleaned, whether it's because of lack of experience or because of what they've seen on the internet. There's so many different reasons, but I'm going to explain to you how we do it and how to look after your saddle. So here's just an example of our new Kanga jump saddle. You can see this is how they go out, made of good high quality German leather. Good English leather for the girth straps and sweat flaps. So that's how they look when they go out, and that's how they should, once they start oiling them and putting leather cream on them, they will mould and get soft and fit the horse better, fit the rider better. So I'm going to put that aside, but recently I had a customer send me a saddle in and asked the question, why is my saddle going like this? Why is it grey down here? Why is it patchy here? Why is it looking mouldy underneath here? This is black leather, they said. It should remain black. The simple reason is, for a saddle that's 1 year old, I've seen saddles that are 20 years old, and I'm not telling a word of a lie, that look better than this. So the reason that this is like this after 1 year is because it would have hardly had any care. No leather oil, no leather cream, no saddle soap. This comes from wear and tear, from sweat, from rain, rubbing of the legs, etc. So what I'm going to do now is explain a couple of easy, simple ways of how to care for your saddle. There's three things. There's leather oil, we've got saddle soap, and we've got balsam. Leather cream, leather balm. Which one do I use? Well, when the saddle's new, you tend to use a light coat of oil, but continue on with leather balm. And of course, if there's sweat or dust from the arenas, you would use the saddle soap to clean it. Just like you would clean the dirt off your hands. Once you clean the dirt off your hands with warm water, you wipe your hands, then you put the moisturisers in your hand. Same with leather. Leather is a hide, our hand is a hide, our skin is a hide. So, but when it comes to a situation like this, it's gone too far. We need to get this back to its original condition. It's very, very stiff, very dry, sounds like cardboard. So first thing you want to do is get rid of some of the sweat and the dirt that's ground into that leather over this last 12 months. We've got our liquid saddle soap here. We've got some warm water. You can have it in a jar or ice cream container or bowl, anything. And some kind of sponge, just a light sponge. So we put a little bit of warm water on the sponge. We're going to put some saddle soap on, just a small bit. We're going to start foaming this up and cleaning it. You can already see the colour has changed. It's already gone darker, but that will come light again once it dries out. Alright, so there, that there. I'll get my rag, just wipe the excess off very lightly, and the grooves there, already looking 100%. We'll then take our leather balm, which is a cream. You can put it on with your hands, or we'll use a rag. Just a little bit. We're going to wipe it on here like this, round and round, a little bit more. Look at that colour already coming back. I'll bend it a bit, open the pores, that'll soak it in a bit more. You can see here, a bit more cream, round and round, absolutely beautiful. It also protects the leather, just doesn't clean it, but it also protects it against rain and sweat and dust. If it was raining, for instance, if I use this saddle the next day after I've cleaned it, and it begins to rain, and particularly in some of these tropical rains, the water will just bead off the leather. If it's not cleaned properly and not nourished properly, when the leather's so super dry, it will soak up the rain and when it dries, become stiff and hard. It can sometimes even leave dots and marks and things like that from the rain. So I'll let that sit like that a little bit of dry. Now we're going to have a look underneath here, and you can see again. Look at the girth straps. They're that stiff because they haven't been oiled. They haven't had any cream on them or any care. And again, on the sweat flap, you can see the dirt, the rub marks from the buckles. So we're going to also have a look underneath. Yeah, you can see rub marks. Now that's just dirt. That's dirt and sweat. You see, it's not wear and tear. Underneath is another interesting part of the saddle. Look at this here. Now, some people would say to me, why has my saddle got all these marks on it? Well, they've got marks on it because it hasn't been cleaned or nourished or cared for. And it sounds like cardboard. It's that stiff. It's had no nourish in it. So I'm actually going to start from underneath here. Again, take my warm water, like this. Saddle soap. Round and round. Remember what it looked like beforehand. Just like cleaning your hands. Good lather. Put that down. Under here as well. Look at all this dust. Just like in the shower. Good lather of soap. Here, where I mentioned before about the dirt and the sweat. Now, never oil your girth straps. Just put a bit of saddle soap for cleaning or some leather cream sometimes if they're very stiff in a case like this. Because the girth straps, why don't we oil the girth straps? The reason we don't oil the girth straps is because it's chrome tan leather. Chrome tan leather is a different tanning process to the rest of the leather. This is vegetable tanned, this leather. So it's a different kind of finish. It needs more care. Chrome tan leather needs a little bit of care, but not as much. So, wiping the excess off. I'll get my rag. Here. Wipe the excess soap off. And as you're doing that, it's taking more dirt off the leather. You can see how much cleaner that is already. Here as well. This should be done if you're riding. The big question is that a lot of people ask me, how often should I do it? Well, my answer to that is, if you're riding 5 days or 6 days a week, you should clean it once a week. And then the question is, well, how much should I use oil? Should I use leather cream? Should I use soap? It really depends on the situation. It depends on the climate you're in. It can be a humid climate, so the saddle may get mould on it, or the horse sweats a lot, so there's a lot of sweat and dirt, and then dust from the arena sticks to the sweat. And in cold climates, it may just be the dust from the arenas. And also, remember that between the flap and the rider's legs, the boots, the dust comes up from the arenas, or even if you're riding outdoors, fine dust comes up, sticks to the saddle, your legs and your boots are rubbing it, so it's like a fine sandpaper. It's like a fine sandpaper that's rubbing into your leather, wearing the leather down. But if your leather is nourished and well looked after, it won't wear down as well, and you won't have that dirt sticking to the saddle. So, back to the saddle. First thing we did was the flap. You can see the colour has come right back. It may dry by, of course it will dry by tomorrow, it might come back a bit lighter, but I'll get to that in a minute. Your girth straps are looking 100%. And so is the sweat flap. You can see here, it's all one colour. Our dirt's gone away from the flap underneath here. See, it's nice and clean. So now it's clean. Now it's clean, what do we do? Do we put oil on, or do we put the leather cream, the leather balm? Well, we definitely know we're not to oil the girth straps, we know that. But with the flap here, because it's so dry and stiff, I'm going to put a bit of oil on. Now, oil generally comes in a bottle like this. You can squirt it onto a rag and wipe it on, or put it into a small tub like this one and get a paintbrush. We use a big paintbrush because we oil a lot of saddles here, but in a tub like this, and just paint it on like that. You see? Light coat there. Under here, this is a firm leather, so we're going to oil this. But again, I would only do this on a very dry saddle, which this one is. If it's not very dry and it's been cleaned regularly, you would only use saddle soap or leather balm. And the leather balm is the nourisher. The saddle soap's the cleaner, and the leather balm is the nourisher. Okay. Underneath. And because this is so stiff, this one, I'm going to actually bend the flap like this, so it opens the pores, and I can see it starting to, like you can get closer there, you can see it's starting to actually soak up the oil. It's opening the pores in the leather, and it's soaking it up, you see. Look at that. Here I've just brushed it on, I haven't bent the flap, and here you can see there's less oil now. Even though I put it on evenly, this is soaking it up, it's taking it in to the flap. That's how dry it is, it's like a sponge. You see, bend it this way as well, you're not going to damage it. Leather's a very tough material, and that'll start softening the leather. So that'll dry. This here will soak up the leather, the oil. Here as well, use your hands, not going to hurt your skin. Like that. It'll soak it all up. Now the girth straps, we'll let that sit for a while. The girth straps, I would only use a little bit of the leather balm. I've already cleaned them with the saddle soap, so I'm going to take the leather balm now and just wipe them down like this. And as I'm doing it, I'm bending the leather this way, that way. It makes it nice and soft, opens up the pores. You know, leather is made up of a lot of different fibres, so the fibres become looser the more you bend them. So there we have it. I'll wipe this down just to speed things up a bit. But that's very clean, it's black. That's how it should have been from the beginning. And then you can see here that it looks 100% compared to what it was before. Okay? Hope you've enjoyed that, and hope that explains it to you in better detail. If you have any more questions regarding any leather details or drawing, please give us a call or see us on our website. Peter Horobin Saddlery. Thank you.